Welcome to
VHS TV!
Hey guys, got any plans for the weekend?
Go walk our cats.
We could go play Fortnite.
Oh man, come on man, why Fortnite?
That's so cliche, man. I'm gonna make a baby hybrid of a monkey and a sloth. That's so good.
Why don't we just go rob Disneyland?
What you should do is...
What you should do, guys, is you should go support theater on Friday, May 4th, to go see the new play, Murder, on Center Stage at 2:30.
Welcome back to The Big Show. I'm your host, Joel Nunez, and one thing we're really good at is thinking of new ideas. Here's a food idea.
Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Alex, and today we're going to be making seasoned chicken breast with rice. First things first, our apron. And now for the moment of truth.
The rice is really good.
Let's talk about controversial topics. Here's
Welcome to
Chatterbox.
Chatterbox, the only TV talk show that's still on a wait list. Now, what is coming up this Friday?
This Friday is college signing day, which is when every senior that's filled out the senior survey gets to walk in the quad because they're going to the military, it's trade school, a 2-year college, or a 4-year college.
And this is an exciting time. That way we can see all of our peers, go to the college they're choosing. Right now, we have our new upcoming Highlander, Lorenz Diaz, with you.
Yeah, I'm going to UC Riverside.
It's not Riverside.
Oh, well, apparently I've been told it's UC Ruido.
It's UC right
So I will be going there in the fall.
And you can show which college you're going to this Friday coming up. Make sure you be there, all you seniors.
If you don't know if you're on the list, your list will be on your Gmail.
Especially me. I'm on a wait list, though. I don't know where I'm going.
This has been Chatterbox. Goodbye, Patriot.
PHS TV likes to lay down the beats. Here's PHS Cypher.
Music bed.
My name's Seth Riley, and I'm a professional BMX rider for Free Agent Bikes.
Music bed.
sons, that's that. Don't like, no. Don't like, don't like. A snitch, bang, bang, bang. So I like.
Some of my cousins have had a little bit of a glimpse of what it's like here in the United States, but they were born and raised in Taiwan. They're probably going to stay in Taiwan. And one of my cousins, she had, said to me, she was like, oh, you're asked to like talk about like Chinese things, and that's not so often, but a lot of times, when you're Chinese, Taiwanese, American, is like constantly trying to explain what does that mean, what does that mean to different people. And I've been back to Taiwan a bunch of times, but of course, like my experience is never going to be the way that it is for my family, that lives out there. There was another poet that I had met who's a Chinese-American poet, but she, I think, identifies more as Chinese, and she was saying how she didn't feel like my poetry was Chinese poetry, it was American poetry. And I was trying to say to her, well, I think my poetry is Chinese-American poetry. And you could also look at it as Chinese poetry, or you can look at it as American poetry, but it's not something that has to be, you can only be one or the other, because to say that I'm only one or the other would be denying such huge parts of my life that I won't be able to say that and do that. I'm struggling to reason what we have in common, what it could be worth, tearing away at ancient Asian histories to build the unified front of today's Asian American society. I dream of a cocky Asian nationalism when sisters wear cheepaos and kimonos and are hearing those seriously funky, gravity-defying do's every single day. When we have taken all of our languages melded into one to recall us to our values and our pride. When we have a voting bloc and boycott power not to be screwed with. When our music saddled to the buck-wild backs of Asian rhythms is blared out open street windows. When somebody could say, hey, quit acting so yellow! And we both understand what that could possibly mean. When we can belong to something and it can belong to us. When we are proud of our accents, knowing, yes, this is what American English sounds like too. When screaming out yellow and brown power could encompass all of the stories of war-torn refugees from Cambodia, Vietnam, Sri Lanka, of my parents who were lured here by the brain drain, of the Japanese Nisei and Issei in the American internment camps, of the Filipinos who first came to the dirty South in the mid-1700s, of the Chinese who drove the stakes into the railroads and worked alongside black sharecroppers in Mississippi, a nationalism with the weight of all of these things and more, marking the day when my family will quit saying American when we mean white. I think that the most important thing to me is for us to be proud of who we are and not to feel like we have to erase ourselves in order to be here. Sometimes people will say like, I just see you, I don't see your race, and I don't see how different you are. This whole colorblind conversation. But I'm like, but I want you to see all of me. I want you to see my history. I want you to see, where I've come from, my culture, and my family, and that I am a mixture of all of these things, all of the things that, all of my ancestors have gone through, as well as, who I confront every day on the street, here in the U.S. These are all a part of who I am. And I think that being Asian American has really taught me, it's so much an experience of always dealing with these issues around invisibility. So I'm always thinking about, not only that we're excluded so often from the conversation, whether it's politically or economically or socially, but also I'm always thinking about, well, okay, who else isn't being talked about? Who else isn't being included in this? And I would assume that I would never have felt that way or thought that way if I grew up somewhere where I was the majority.
And that is all we have for you today. Thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in on Monday for what you need to know.